Banter Podcast with Colin Geddis.
What's happening, people? Welcome to the General Banter Podcast. It's Tuesday the 15th of September. This is take 2 because I brought up 9/11 very quickly in the first one, and I shouldn't have, and the dick went soft. The podcast dick went soft. You know, blind boys out there giving you podcast hugs. I'm out here giving you podcast boners, and the boner went down because I was all like, do you remember the guy fucking falling out of the building, very, very sad for 9/11? And everyone's like, oh, never forget. And then, you know, everyone's giving the police shit in America, and people are like, you did forget. You know, these guys were heroes at one point, and now you're fucking, you know, trying to kill them or whatever. Anyway, welcome to the podcast. The podcast, as always, is sponsored by our friends at flowcbdltd.com. They're calling around here at 12:30, so we better get this podcast done and dusted before they land round. You know the crack with CBD. It's a fucking, it's a supplement. You should be taking it every day. It's one of those things, you could take fucking a bunch of different pills, or you could just take this. You know, people are out there taking painkillers, taking ibuprofen. Oh, my back, oh, I train too much, oh, my legs are sore, oh, I've got a stiff back. Take this, you know what I mean? Lube the body up. And every time I take it, it basically just feels like someone's blown hot air into my body. Like I've got out of a hot bath. I'm just like, oh, nice. It's basically a sauna in a bottle is what it is. And it's great stuff. And if you click the link below, you'll be able to buy it there. And if you're on the Patreon, you'll get the old discount code, and you'll be able to get 20% off or 10% off. I think it's 20 actually. I think it might be 20. So yeah, if you're on the Patreon, keep a lookout for the old flowcbdltd.com post. Great stuff. Shout out to them. And that's a healthy thing to do. This is also healthy. Shout out to Niall, whose parents make bee milk. This is honey, it's called, and it looks incredible. That's what real honey looks like. You know, people buy honey in shops, and it's like sticky water. That's real honey, isn't it? Like fucking. And how many bees would you have to milk to get that much? 50,000. Grabbing them by the tiny bee teats and yanking them. Some say it's cruel, you know what I mean? But like, you got to make the toast sweeter. So they grab the tiny bee tits, bee stings. I mean, that's why they call adult women with small tits, they call those bee stings, because also the tiny bees are getting their tits milked for all this bee milk. So I'm excited. I'll be able to use that for like good, you know, I'm putting it on toast, I'm enjoying it. Not like when I'm making a handful of Asian foods and I'll use any other shit to just chug it in there to make it sticky, you know what I mean? That one's going on some delicious breads at home. And I'll tell you what's not healthy. I'm 33, and you know, I'm not the healthiest guy of all time, but you know, it's on my mind. It's all about being aware. And I called in a McDonald's as usual to get some coffees this morning, and I've never seen more children in my life. You know, I think that's, like, I have one baby, and he's 10 months old, and straight away I've fucking, you know what I mean? I started wearing slides and socks around the house and talking like that there. And I pulled into McDonald's this morning. I was like, the fuck, what's all these children doing in here? If there's no one making you a fucking better breakfast at home. A lot of children eating fucking McDonald's breakfasts. You know, and if you're one of these PTs who are like, man, if it's within your calories and all, yeah, but you know, it can be within your calories and still be absolute fucking trash. Have I eaten McDonald's breakfasts before? Many times, but like every day before school, sorted out. Calories are calories, man. Sort of. Are you eating, you know, a nice porridge with some berries and some fucking bee milk? You know, are you having a healthy breakfast like that? Or are you eating some fucking McDonald's breakfast like a goddamn skip rat city fox? You know, eating breakfast like a seagull round here. Bought this microphone, cost a fortune so that I wouldn't touch it, and I didn't go 5 minutes without fingering the knobs on the side, for the love of fucking Christ. Here we are, we're killing it. We did the last podcast there, got a lot of fucking feedback about the old Pakistani kids there. People were loving that. People were like, man, I love it when you do a racist accent. And I was like, you're welcome. But then someone sent me this other bit. I wish I could find it. It was basically a video of someone had like phonetically put subtitles over the top of it. So that just made it extra. Every time the woman went great, they went grape, and that fucking made me laugh. I'm going to see if I can find it. No, not actually. That's going to take too long. Yeah, got good response for that. What I didn't get good response for was the podcast I did with Weston from Hung Papa. People hate that guy. People fucking hate that guy. And I don't know whether it's because one guy was like, I don't like the sound of him, and everyone jumped on board. Bro, everyone's like, fucking, he would have got bullied at my school. And I guarantee you that was a guy who's 45, hasn't been to school in years. Like, he'd have got fucking wedgied. If he went to my school, I could have got him in a headlock, done him a noogie to him. He'd have got his head flushed down the toilet and wedgied. You know, we'd have stole his penny farthing. Yeah, there was a lot of people. I mean, you slag off dogs. I talked about this last week. You slag off. I could go in and out of jokes about paedophiles all day, and then I say something about dogs, and people are like, "Let me tell you something. Sexual abuse towards children, I'll let slide, but don't you dare tell me that a Staffordshire Bull Terrier has the capabilities to rip out the throat of a child. You've got it twisted." I think it probably does. You're wrong. You don't know dogs at all. Shut your fucking mouth. But anyway, yeah, people were slagging off Weston. You don't get him. I'm going to defend him here. The guy is infectiously positive when you're around him. He plays up to a certain thing. You know, he's like, oh, I'm fucking blah, blah, rich. Whatever. You know what I mean? The guy is hardworking and driven and creative. And someone said to me, this is another thing. You know, this podcast is what it is. It sometimes have guests, sometimes it don't. Sometimes we're talking shit, sometimes we're serious, sometimes it's hilarious, sometimes it's racist. Mostly not. Most of the time it is. But people were like, man, don't only interview, you know, talented people and talented or interested people. The guy is talented. The guy is interesting, okay? And the guy's like, this has lowered the tone of the General Banter Podcast, as if that's how it is from now on. I see you've got a guest on one podcast. I didn't like the tone of it. Therefore, is it going to be like this every single week with the same guy and talking about the same stuff? Obviously not. You fucking weirdo. That's it. I'm getting rid of comments. Here's the thing about comments. You know, people are always like, think about what sort of loser leaves a negative comment. And I'll be honest with you, think about what sort of loser leaves a comment. You know, and I've probably, you know, shit on a lot of people with what I've just said there, you know, because people will say nice things and I'll be like, thanks very much. How many videos have I got on YouTube? Never left a comment in my fucking life. Am I completely computer illiterate? Do I know how to do that? Absolutely not. You know, and if you're on a video going first, bro, how did you get your hand off your cock and out of the bag of Doritos quick enough to even type that? You fucking weirdo. COVID. Full-blown COVID. Anyway, this is the what does that say? I've got notes here. What does that say? Who the fuck knows? This will be a mainly question-based podcast today. I've fucking nothing to talk about. We didn't do a bonus one last week. We fucking... the big man went away for the weekend, which is crazy because we went to a very fancy hotel. Now, someone left a comment saying, you must be getting some money selling that dodgy merch. And I was like, haha, we're all jokes and laughs. The fucking merch is premium quality. We're all having jolly japes, but let's face it, the t-shirts, top shelf. And he goes, only joking, I have some. And I'm like, don't be joking around me. You know, I'm not a jokey guy. And I'll tell you another thing. Had I not been married to my wife, I would never be in that place. Okay? I would be spending a nice long weekend, cock in hand, other hand in Doritos like the guy we just mentioned. So we went away and, you know, as she said, we haven't done anything in months, so let's do something really fancy. As in, like, we haven't spent any money on anything pleasurable since March. So, oh my God, my headphone came out. Since March. So let's take all the money we would have spent and put it together for one night in a fucking hotel, which is like absolutely ridiculously luxurious. And I went, no problem. But the problem with that is, with a young child, you start prepping for that on Thursday. You know, we left Saturday and you start packing, you start doing all this weird shit. You know, you're like, right, I'm going to fucking have to charge this beard trimmer because I'm going to have to trim a beard, shave my head before I go, have I ironed my chinos? You start getting ready on Thursday. You know, and then Friday night, you're up to fucking 2 o'clock doing all this weird shit just so you can leave on time the next day. By the time I got there, I was fucked. And then we got there and we decided to go for lunch. And this is the thing with these places, like, you know, you can try and be fancy and they design these menus and everything to please everybody. You know, real rich, white Irish people. You know, like you want to go in there like, well, today's special is fucking chicken, and then we also have beef, and then there's the fish option, and then of course there's the stuffed fucking pepper for all you veggie wankers. I would give me a fucking boojum any day. Do you know, I was sitting there and I was like, bro, there isn't sriracha on any of this shit. So we went for lunch anyway, got a fucking steak sandwich. It was bullshit. I could have made it myself. But the people at this place, first of all, we were the youngest by a mile. And also, I stuck out like a fucking bulldog's ball bag walking through this restaurant. Because as I walk past the table, right, this is the sort of area you're dealing with. You walk past this table and a guy goes, I know a gardener will work for €38 an hour. You know, this is what these guys are talking about at lunch. These two fucking guys, you know, sitting there like, they're eating like chicken wings, but they're going like, fucking Victor, isn't this hilarious that we would, man, we're fucking cutting loose. We're having some fucking chicken wings like peasants. Isn't it hilarious? Anyway, I have a slave that'll work for €38 an hour. If you need your grass cut with, he cuts it with scissors, basically. I tell him, the lawnmower creates too much noise. So I've got you a regular pair of scissors here, and I want you to fucking cut the grass in silence, okay? Whilst my wife is on coke and walks around the house naked, and if you fucking look at her, I swear to God, I'll execute your Mexican family. Oh, they're not Mexican. They better pretend to be Mexican, for fuck's sake. Imagine having that conversation. Like, I tell you what, if you're looking at gardener, I have a guy that I can get you will work for only €38 an hour. Is not bad. If someone paid me €38 an hour to cut my own grass, fuck me. I'd make at least fucking, £84? Unbelievable. But anyway, I strolled through there and people are going, Jesus Christ, would you look at this guy with a tattoo? For fuck's sake, this place has gone to the dogs, man. And we sat down and ordered a Prosecco. And I don't even fucking drink Prosecco, but I was like, do you know what? Somehow when I'm looking over this golf course in the blistering sun, this Prosecco tastes good. And we had that, and we're full tanked before we were able to check into the room. So, you know, being young parents on a weekend away, we got straight in that room, ripped our clothes off, and slept for about 2 hours. And we changed, the dinner reservation was for like 9:15, which is like, who the fuck's eating at 9:15? Like, unless you've already been out all day and you're eating a kebab. But I was like, oh, we got to change that. Changed it to 6. So we basically went for lunch at 1, didn't get eaten to about 2, ate from like 2 to fucking 3, got drunk, went back for a sleep for an hour, got up, got showered, and went for dinner. Just had lunch and dinner like fucking a couple of hours apart, absolutely pissed. And went down to the dinner, and like, once again, you know what I mean? Like, I do not fit in around there. You know, Maureen's kind of fancy. She'll swan through it like unnoticed, and I just plow through it like it's a disaster. Like, I saw a large gentleman from the north wearing a hat. Do you fucking believe that? Why do you not have a little fucking Indian fella carrying a, what do you call what do you call those fucking it's like an umbrella for the sun? What do you call those? I was gonna say Solero, but I know that's a lolly. What are they called? What the fuck are they called? Parasol? Is that what it is? Do you not have a fucking illegal immigrant carrying a fucking umbrella for you? Jesus Christ, man. Once again, you know, the dinner was fucking whatever. Like, take me to Chinatown any day. And then I ordered the fucking chicken, and the fish arrived, and then the girl came over with a mask on. She's like, I'm absolutely mortified I've brought you the wrong dinner. And I was already drunk, and I was like, listen, I'll eat the fish, like, we'll choke it down. I was gonna order the fish anyway, and she's like, are you sure? Because they're going to execute me anyway. And I'd be like, nah, if it was in a shittier restaurant that I went, just leave the chicken. I'll eat the fucking chicken too. You know what I mean? Eat the fish and the chicken. Anyway, that was it. And we stayed in this fucking place. It was like an apartment. It was crazy. You know. How shit is this podcast? Me just talking about staying in a hotel. Oh, it's great, man. One of the highlights. You'll appreciate this, Niall. I was leaving the restaurant, and this little Asian lady who worked there, but she had an Irish accent, but she goes, was everything okay for you, Mr. Geddís? And I went, you just immediately turned into the person that you know, like, Mr. Geddís, and I was like, well, it was okay. I have had better, coconut pea soup. I have had better, and I'll tell you something, I could take or leave the nasturtiums on my fucking pea soup. I feel like the butter-basted cauliflower needed work. Okay, a little bit undercooked for me personally, Mr. Geddís. And of course, although the chocolate sphere for dessert was quite impressive visually, once it had melted, it did just, leave a pool of shite, essentially. So I'm glad my wife ordered that, and I ordered some sort of raspberry tart. No problem, Mr. Geddís. Would you like to leave a tip? I will never be back. I will not be back here. All I could think was the fucking dinner was about €50 each a head. I was like, bro, I feel like the damage I could have done in a Centra with 50 quid a head. Bro, Mr. Geddís over here, killing it. But yeah, that was. I won't answer to anything else now. Do you know what I mean? If people are like, you're waiting at a fucking dentist, and they're like, Mr. Geddis, I'll be like, Mr. Geddis? Oh, me? Oh, I'm Colin Geddis. Bitch. How do you spell that? Do you do it like Chinese with an X? You know what I mean? Geddis. Anyway, it's Colin Geddis over here. Welcome to the podcast. Weird breed of people down that neck of the woods. That sort of, outskirts of Dublin, Wicklow-y, sort of everyone's fucking, Tarquin passed his fucking driving test there, and he's got the new Range Rover Sport SVR, and I tell you what, the fucking arsehole scraped it. So we had to set fire to it on one of our properties, and buy him another one. He's a fucking scamp, let me tell you. I drove past this house, right, and there was a fucking, like an old SL Merc, white, with like plants growing out of it. Like it was in an old abandoned like driveway that they just left, and it was all mossy, and it had fucking shit coming out of it. I was like, this place is a fucking kip, man. So and everybody's just like, I go for dinner in my fancy gear, and then tomorrow I'm going to change into my, like a Nike outfit that cost them probably like £700. I must be in complete elite comfort when I go for breakfast. I mean, I was similar, you know what I mean? I was wearing shorts too, like, but let's get into our fucking £800, €800 outfit to walk around these gardens and take TikToks. And because we were kind of the youngest ones there, it was a bit of an older clientele, because obviously it cost a fucking fortune. Anyone that was young that was there was just like, you could tell like they were there by themselves, but someone's parents paid for it. And there was a lot of like Indian folk and young Indian folk where you're like, right, someone's dad's a fucking prince around here, you know what I mean? Making major bank. A lot of fancy camp sort of gay dudes. One guy had a Gucci mask on. Don't get COVID in style. And they were just running about, oh my God, take a photo of me at this fucking, jacuzzi. What I'm saying is I had a lovely time. What's been happening in the news? I can't remember. I know there was some sort of shit in Parliament, and it was Meme City with Boris and his fucking eyes rolling and stuff, because, he was like, oh, there's a rule of 6, and then people questioned him on it, and he was like, oh, actually, I have no idea. I just said those words and had nothing to back it up. And I was like, shout out to Boris doing exactly what I do with my podcast. which is read a headline and just sort of run with it, and then people be like, man, you should really read into that, and I'd be like, nah, fuck it. Nah. Not Colin Geddis. He's not over here fucking doing research. Bite the base of my cock. I mean, shout out to... the internet's... You look at America and you're like, right, it was good that we got to... Have you ever been to America now? No? Yeah. It's good to get there before it's basically a pile of ash and dead bodies. Because not only are they, just murdering police and vice versa, those Californian fires. I know what's going to happen now. This is the real power of Joe Rogan. He's going to go to fucking Austin, Texas, and everyone, of any sort of entertainment importance is going to go with him, and then that's going to be like the new Hollywood, and LA's just going to turn into this fucking post-apocalyptic, just homeless, crazy people eating their own shit. And that show, Selling Sunset, will be like, they might as well be selling fucking sand castles. This property is worth 43 billion or whatever, and they're showing you all the fucking swim pools. But then just outside the walls of that, there's coyotes just eating a homeless person's legs, and he's going, doesn't that feel nice? Yeah, I can feel that. I'm on meth. This property is $74 million. And then cut to fucking 3 months later, they'll be like, this will keep you segregated from the zombie tramps for at least in the next 3 weeks before you run out of water and food. Okay? Because there's no water here because we're trying to make fucking almond milk for your flat whites, but it's basically destroyed the whole place. And for dinner, we're serving... just it's coyote jerky. What a fucking toilet, like. And then in other news, this welcome to Mr. Geddís 2 news stories. They were cracking up about diversity because they did this really powerful, like, anti-racist thing on fucking, what was it, X Factor or fucking, what was the show? Britain's Got Talent. And especially Ashley Banjo strings, you're like, mate, you're 46 now, pack it in. You know what I mean? Even the wee kid with the afro that was doing the backflips, the guy's warming up backstage because he's 34 now, and he's like, man, this old pelvic tilt's killing me. But they did that, and people were like, is it a bit much? Is it a bit political for Britain's Got Talent? And I think the main thing to take away from it was that it was just kind of naff. Do you know what I mean? God forbid anyone say anything like that, but they basically took a speech from another guy, that tomfoolery guy, and they just took a different speech and put it over their fucking thing. Let me see if I can get the clip. Diversity. And the start of that speech is like, they skim through it quite a bit, don't they?
Tell me the one about the virus again. Please, that one's my favorite. I promise. Just
we hear how much ground. Can you hear this? We hear how much ground they cover in the first 3 sentences. They're like, bloody, bloody, blah, and then Amazon took over the world, and then blacks are killed.
Okay, I'll tell you the story of how the world was before. It was a world of waste and wonder, of poverty and plenty. Back before we understood why hindsight's 2020. People came up with companies to trade across all lands, but they swelled and got much bigger than we ever could have planned.
Companies are big.
We had our wants, but now it got so quick. You could have anything you dreamed of in a day with a click. Family
Fucking right you can. Shout out to Bezos.
had stopped talking, not to say they never spoke, but the meaning must have melted and the work-life balance broke.
Ashley Banjo. I'm 50. You know what I mean?
Then in 2020, a new virus came our way.
Did you hear the jump there? It was literally like, and there was corporations growing all over the fucking world, and things that can get to your house in a day. And then what did they jump to? And then a virus.
Reacted and told us all to hide away. But while
Yes, these are things.
under orders of the Prime Minister, people dusted off their instincts and noticed something more sinister. Another disease, deep-rooted in our system, fear, hate and ignorance, but racism was the symptom. As the world watched on, another black life gone, leaving what we thought we knew in tatters. What we thought we knew, some clearly didn't. Black lives matter.
Now, what's worse than dancing in musicals? Should laugh. I can't breathe.
Nobody's born racist, man. It's something you learn, deep rooted in your brain from the day of your birth. I think it's time that we
I see they've went down this sort of Hamilton route here, and there is absolutely not. Like, why did they not just get like who would be good in Hamilton? Like fucking Mos Def. Why didn't they just get a real rapper to be like, let me rap through the Nas? Let me get through these stories. Oh my god. I can't breathe. Imagine George Floyd just turning in this fucking grave. Did we make a difference? Well, Banjo was on the telly there and had someone going, I can't breathe. Anyway, shout out.
let love out of our hearts onto the cheeks we've turned. Spread love, show love. Let's get rid of this curse. Don't wait for anyone to act. Man, you go first. 400 years wasted. Let's get rid of this.
Wow, they lifted her up in the air. That's a big cheer. Anyway, a bit of dancing is just really fucking just gets you going. It is strange the way they're like, yeah, you know, we find out there was a virus and then it killed a load of people and we were all locked down, and then we found out there was another virus called racism. You know, and there's people, you know, getting kicked to death in like the 90s going, yeah, you think? But you know, maybe it was a good thing that like, well, it was not a good thing that someone got killed, but like once you're all at home and you've no distractions, and then there's a big movement where they're like, right, maybe you can just fucking sit at home and you know, figure this out. Don't know. Well timed, I will say. Plandemic. We'll move into some. We'll glide into some questions here because there's quite a lot of questions, and quite frankly, there's only so much I can talk about what dinners I ate in a hotel. You know what I mean? Let's do it. Aaron Fitzsimmons' best album of 2020 so far. For me, I would say Run the Jewels 4, because I was very excited about it coming out, and I haven't stopped listening to it since it came out. So for me, it was that. Also, if you're talking Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, it's a good little time capsule for, you know, very of the moment, that album. The zeitgeist, would you say? I don't know. Who fuck knows? It was, yeah, that's what it is for me. Having said that, is it one of the only albums I've listened to? Yes. I don't know what else came out during 2020. Another watch related question. Have you checked out Seiko's Astron range? Yes, I have. I don't know what a solar watch is. I don't know how that works. But when you record podcasts in the dark most of your fucking time, I don't know what good a solar watch is to me. I'll take the automatic one, which works off movement, so I can wank it back to life whenever needs be. Any funny shit happen right before gigs in the back room? Do any of the comedians have weird stuff? I imagine Aaron or Mickey can't stop shitting buckets. Well, if Mickey's shitting, it's because, you know, he's drunk every single night of his life. You know, and his body's trying to rid itself of like fucking 18 tins of Carlsberg every day. But yeah, there is quite a bit of shitting going on, nerves related. Is there anything funny happens right before? I mean, no real nightmares that I can think of. You know, you run about and you're like, oh, I need a piss, I need a shit, and people trying to smoke and fucking. But no, I've never really witnessed anybody doing any real funny crazy shit right before. It's fairly boring, to be honest. There's just a lot of pacing up and down and being like, I hope they laugh at my stuff. And even, you know, a sensible brain would tell you, well, you've already done 5 of these, and people laughed the whole way through, so maybe the 6th one's going to be okay. But you're still nervous, you know. Have you seen this chat before? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, shout out to the guy who was basically, like, letting his kid drive a lorry down the motorway. That was fun. Okay, here we go.
Hello, pretty good. Good morning. Hello, pretty good. Good morning to you, babe. Stephen D here from Ashton, Kent. You're the most beautiful babe you're the most gorgeous, very attractive babe in the world ever, who loves to be naked. Oh yeah, ding dong. Hello. You're one tasty babe. Where?
I mean, this is the thing with TikTok is like, and I know they've covered this on like Your Mum's House podcast with Tom Segura quite a bit. The vast majority of the clientele are adults with learning difficulties. Now let's see who this person is. Is this an actual person? Oh, she's from Babe Station. Oh, so sad. So sad. Hello, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. Doing it naked. Most beautiful girl I've ever seen. Do my teeth look like they're bits of smashed up limpet shell I found at the beach? Yes. You know? Yeah, I mean, it's sad times when the guy's like, you know, is in love with the girl from Babe Station, you know what I mean? I found out a secret. If you go to the special channels, you'll see my girlfriend. Beautiful babe, being naked on television. You're the most attractive hot babe I've ever seen naked. There's some things on the internet where you're like, bro, I feel just sad for the world. Like, I seen one the other day, and it was a guy getting like beat up because they tricked him into thinking he was meeting up with a fucking 15-year-old. And the guy gets there, the guy's eyes are demented, like they're all over the place. He obviously has some learning diffs, and they've got him on the floor like, you fucking nonce and all this here, and he's just like, duh! And you're sort of like, okay, this is just sad. I don't know. But yeah, this guy thinks that this Instagram post, Pretty Young, is that a person? Let's get her on the gram. Let's see if she's got her teats out. Let me see if we can get her. Oh boy, first option. Oh, 40k followers. Oh boy. Yeah, so she must be on Babe Station, and this guy's like, I have met the love of my life on the Babe Station. She is the most beautiful naked woman of all times. And I'll tell you what, bro, what's his name? Stephen Dawson. You're absolutely right, kid. Because she would get the full length. Dare. Dare. Jesus Christ, look at the wagon on that. Oh no, you're the most beautiful girl in the world. I like to stay at home and my penis do sick. No, I feel sick, to be honest with you. Why am I talking about that? I just imagine someone like at home trying to fucking maybe they fire this podcast on, they're just chilling in bed or something, they're watching this sort of shit. Where do you fall on Connor Austin, where do you fall on the Oasis Blur divide, and what's your favourite song / album of theirs? Here's where I fall. Both of them are shit. Okay? Well, I mean, if you're talking like, who has the more songs that I can sort of like, that I'm aware of, it would be Oasis. And generally speaking, do I enjoy their songs more? There's certain ones like Fucking in the Bushes, and no, it's not a big hit, or Cigarettes and Alcohol or something, where I'm like, that's a good song. but I couldn't listen to too much of it. And also, for some reason, most of it. I mean, shout out to Willie Thompson, comedian. He took a video and he went to see like Liam Gallagher's or one of the Gallagher brothers at the Odyssey, and the guy in front of him was wearing like one of these pretty green shirts, and he had the fucking haircut that all these wankers have, like the wee pointy ear bits, and the guy had his own tambourine with him. So he's like, alright, kid, we're going to see fucking guys from East Belfast, go see fucking arcades, and then he, you know, that was wandering into like Scouse there, so I apologize. And then the guy's like, I'm such a big fan, I'm gonna bring my thing in, my tambourine to the gig. Loser. Who else does that? You know what I mean? Like what band? I'd be like, man, big fan of Queens of Stone Age, man, going to see them at the end of the month, bringing my own guitar with me. You know, I know they've got a giant PA and it's blasting out of big old stacks of fucking amps, but I'm just gonna stand here and be like, I can go with the flow on row fucking 24F or whatever. Loser. Okay, Sam, have you ever watched The Sopranos? I watched it about 5 years ago and now rewatching it. Fuck me, it's good. Also, get back to jiu-jitsu, bro. Just got my blue belt 2 years and 2 months. Stop the excuses. What are the excuses? 2 years, bro? What are you doing? Fucking half an hour a month? What's... Sam who? What's it? No, do you know what? I need to figure out where you can watch fucking Sopranos, because I probably would watch it. But then you start watching it and it looks dated as fuck. But what's your go-to order in Brew? Oh yeah, that's the local spot that we go to. I don't know, eggs with fucking something. That's everywhere you go now. It's just everything they give you is sourdough. They'll be like a sourdough burger with a side of sourdough chips. You know, sourdough omelette with a bed of sourdough and some fucking pesto sourdough flat whites. Anything with an egg on it. Jamie Roberts, what's your view on the likes of Little Britain being banned from TV? Do you think it's right that everything should be censored? No, definitely not. Because, you know, it's not like this fucking minstrel show type fucking bullshit where they're like, right, we can't let the blacks into movies, so let's just make a black, and they paint some fucking blonde dude with like boot polish, and then he pretends he's a fucking, you know, slave. It's not really like that. It's like, you know, you get like the fucking nutty professor, you know, like the Eddie Murphy thing where he would play everybody, and you know, like those guys are probably watching stuff like that, and they're like, well, would it be funny since we're the stars? You know what I mean? David Williams and Matt Lucas were the fucking stars of Little Britain, so people want to see them. So they're like, would it be funny if we just played a whole range of fucking characters? And they took it off because, you know, like the guy's playing like, you know, two fucking Japanese schoolgirls, or they're playing like a fucking big fat Nigerian lady that, you know, they're playing like different races. The only one that would be like borderline I could see a problem with is when the guy pretends he's like disabled in a fucking wheelchair, but he's not, and he just jumps up and runs about. Like that is probably more offensive than just two comedic actors playing different characters for a laugh. Do you know what I mean? No, if you were a white guy and you played a fucking stupid, fat, nerdy white guy, no one's going, that's a bit inappropriate. Or you play a woman who's white at the, you know what I mean? It's like, I think comedy gets hit pretty hard because it's just low hanging fruit. People go, that's fucking disgraceful, and you're like, it's just having a laugh. Like, you know what I mean? What damage is Little Britain doing? I mean, I would argue for the most part it's kind of just not that funny, but who the fuck knows? I don't know. I don't think any of it should be banned. You should keep it and be like, oh, isn't that funny how the times change? Sure, look at fucking Friends. Everyone watches it start to finish on a loop. You know, it's what I put on when I go to bed on. Then it dates about 10 years or something, and then you look back and you're like, do you remember Ross used to just call Rachel a fucking slut to her face and then buck her anyway. Like, you know, there's certain things you just don't get away with now. Like, man, Ross was really gaslighting her, wasn't he? He was really abusive. But at the time, everyone was just like, hey, you know, how you doing? Whatever. When are the coffee cups available? Well, listen, I'm hanging around here waiting for all my merch to arrive, but it's not going to happen, so I might just put the cups on. Everyone's looking them. They are a premium product. They cost a fortune to make. They'll probably be reasonably expensive to buy, but they're fucking top quality. And we have a lot of coffee cups that we've bought at home, including those Bodum things and all that, and it's a heap of shit compared to these new ones. You know, insulated, screws down, click shut. Pretty much, it's fucking incredible. Keeps coffee warm for like 9 weeks to a point where it's unhealthy. You go to drink it, there's mushrooms in it. So I might just put them up on their own, wait for the other shit to come in. Thoughts on the videos of the youngster driving the lorries up the M1? Yeah, that's the country for you. You know what I mean? That's just, you know, be like, your dad's had a couple of pints and all, don't take the fucking tractor home. Guy's still in nappies, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. You seem to be doing an okay job. I mean, if you had dual control type things, maybe that's a bit safer. But to be on the other side, being like, you know, you're 8, but go ahead and drive that fucking thing while your dad eats a Subway here. Mental. Any thoughts of the video of the couple going at it on the footpath in broad daylight near St. George's Market? Still traumatized? Someone's went, where's the video? Probably. Let me see this comment. That was going to be my question too. Dirty bastards, stinking, and your woman flashing everything. I haven't seen the video, but don't tell me about those things and don't, you know, not send a link. I mean, I just imagine there being a lot of drugs involved. I love the way she's like, stinking and your woman flashing everything. As if she just slipped her fanny out. Discreetly. How do you find new music these days? As I get older, I find myself just listening to what I know. Well, yeah, that happens to everybody, doesn't it? And then you end up like someone's grumpy old dad, like, that's fucking real shit. There is some good stuff coming through, but even the way music is like presented to you nowadays, like you're on these fucking TikToks and everyone's doing these dances, which, by the way, it's not a dance. It's basically like, it looks like someone telling you how to put a fucking, like a life jacket on a plane. Have you learned the new dance? Wise up. And then it goes, you know, people know that song, and then fucking Jason Derulo takes it, and the song's like, which to me screams, you know, nonce. He's like, what do the kids like? Let me use that noise. And then the stadiums are just going to be packed full of fucking 9-year-olds. Weird. Class video of an Aussie owl boy who loves his breakfast. Now, this is the sort of wholesome content we're after. What do we like time-wise here? We've got to get the fuck out of here. Shout out to that girl on Babe Station.
If you're a fucking fair income fucking full-grown Aussie, this is what you'd have for breakfast, you fucking dog cunts. A fucking VB long neck at 20 to 8 in the fucking morning. Get that up, yeah.
And then he just puts in the side of his mouth. What an aggressive cunt. Yeah, you fucking VB, you fucking stupid.
Fucking full-grown
fucking
Aussie, this is what you'd have for
you
breakfast,
fucking
you fucking dog cunts.
You dog cunts. There's the name of the podcast there. You dog cunts.
Fucking VB long neck at 20 to 8 in the fucking morning. Get that up, yeah.
Nice. I follow a page called Blokes of the World, and it's basically just a load of Australia must just be full of dudes that are a mess. You know, we're gonna fucking quarry all day and then fucking second to clock off and fucking drinking and fucking VBs, you dog cunt. I don't even get fucking showered and straight to fucking work the next day, you cunt.
Fixing my knee up. Get that up, you fucking dogs. fucking up, yes, you fucking cunts. Low life cunts, you fucking dog.
Guy's sitting on a mattress covered in piss. You fucking low life cunt.
Fucking idiots. Fucking dog cunts. Mix a prick. Fuck yes, this time. Fuck yes. See the first thing, mate. Go the mighty fucking blues, you fucking dog cunts. Get off. Fucking.
And that's, you know, he's a bit one note, is what I will say. He's not spitting bars like this guy.
Hello, pretty good. Good morning to you, babe. Stephen D here from Mattress Ken. You're the most beautiful babe you're the most gorgeous, very.
Am I a human who has giraffe teeth? Yes. You're the most prettiest naked woman. You don't count. That other guy is like the sweetest looking old man of all time, and then he's just like, yeah, get up, you fucking dog cunt, you fucking low life cunt. He's some pup. How many more questions? Fuck me, there's loads. Let me rattle through these. Mark Norman talked about the setup of the JRE studios in Cali. He said there was Navy SEALs guarding the place. Young Jamie constantly smokes weed and Marshall just runs around. What would your ideal podcast setup be? Mickey on the door with nunchucks? Nah, fucking ideal would be all podcast done with Mickey or via Zoom. The guy has rollerblades now, you know what I mean? The guy's an adult and has fucking dust for knees, and he's also got rollerblades. And he's built like a chubba chub. He's gonna hurt himself. Will the Limelight tables always be sold by minimum of 4 people plus By the way, I didn't even mention that. After the gigs that I did at the Limelight, we thought it would be good to do a more regular thing. We're like, let's go weekly, and then we panicked and we're like, right, let's go monthly, so that we can make it like more of a showcase. And so once a month we're going to be doing a big show, big lineup. I'll be hosting every time. The first one is this Friday, which is going to be the 18th. Is that right? The 18th? Friday the 18th? Yeah. It's sold out already. So, yeah, that's probably why I didn't mention it at the start during the promos. It's sold out. So, yeah, the next one will be released. It's going to be on the 2nd of October. And then from then on, it'll be start of November, start of December. And that'll be like a regular thing. I don't know what the crack is with Lavery's. I haven't heard from them. It might be back. It might not be back. But sure, what can you do? You gotta, adapt or die. I've been saying that a lot, especially to the baby when it's crying. I'm like, adapt or die. I've shit myself. Adapt or die. I mean, the guy's shits these days are fucking, incredible. Because it goes from like, oh, the baby's dirty, it's nappy, to now like the baby has an elbow coming out of its ass, and then you have to change it. And you're like, it just shit. It basically shit an American football there. So much, it can't even stand up, the weight of it. Unbelievable. The guy's a fucking animal. No, will the gigs be sold by a minimum of 4 people? No, that will change. Like, the groups are like 4, 6, and 8, and you had to serve food. As of, I forget what date it is, you don't have to serve food. We think the pizza is quite a cool thing, so we're keeping it included. But that'll drop away, and then eventually it'll be like, right, okay, you can buy seats in pairs probably, and then single ones or whatever. So yeah, that will change. Obviously they'll probably keep the option to book like a 6 or an 8 just for groups, but yeah, that'll ease up. If you could tell your teenage self one thing, what would it be? Maybe like, hey, if you're not playing rugby 5 times a week, maybe you don't need to eat as much. Science? I don't know. That would take some long fucking therapy sessions for me to figure that out. Do you think it's easier to perform stand-up about Northern Ireland and stay around here than to branch out across the UK and Ireland, which means less jokes about NI? Either way is fine. I do both. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going over to gig in fucking Scotland or, fucking Liverpool or Manchester or whatever. COVID! I think a fucking rib came out there. Yeah, obviously you're not standing in the middle of London being like, what about people from Lurgan? Aren't they ugly cunts? I've done both. Do you think it's easier to perform? I mean, bro, see if you're trying to get laughs, it's not easy anywhere. To be honest with you. Have you been following the Eddie Hall and Hafthor Bjornsson boxing match? Who's your money on at the moment? Thanks, love the podcast. I would say I would never put my money on Eddie Hall because Eddie Hall used to be a swimmer, so I think his cardio capacity might be a bit better, even though he's fucking giant. So yeah, I'm gonna put money on him. And obviously, you know, you've seen the video of your big Thor there moving around with Conor McGregor, and he was fucked after about 2 minutes. Which of course, like, but right, we're rattling through these. Let's go, Colin. This is from a guy called Colin. Have you much dealings with the business community and NI? No. Gavin Wall. Don't know who that is. Chris Suter. Pride and Pinion. Pro tip, they're all absolute gimps, especially on LinkedIn. Well, there you go. Jesus Christ, man. No, I don't know any of those people. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. That's Jay-Z line. Did you feel you accomplished something great as being one of the rare stand-up comedians having a respectful stay at a hotel and not messaging underage girls for sex or jerking off in front of strange women? Bro, you don't know what the fuck I was doing down there. Why do you think I went the whole way down there? So I could stand in a water fountain with my cock out? What's your favourite Rory Gallagher or song/performance from Jordan Evans? Niall didn't just go like this. The wanker sign. I quite like on that Irish tour video the walk on hot coals thing where he's just all improvising and the sweat's all dripping off his face. And I watch that and I go, I will never do that ever, or do anything remotely as cool. I know it's hard to give a fuck anymore, but what do you think of Conor McGregor getting himself into more shit? Arrested in France for allegedly sexually harassing someone while sailing around in his £3 million boat. I'd fucking like to think so! Why are you on a yacht in fucking France if you're not sexually harassing people? You've earned the right. Is he a present day Epstein? Not really. Basically untouchable because of how minted he is. Yes, that is a real thing. Unreal show in the limelight was at the early Saturday one. Pissed myself at the gig and then again later because I'd had too many pinters. Good man, Lewis. Have you came across the video on Facebook where a guy blows his head off with a shotgun? No. I hate that. I mean, there's a lot of shit that like I have to unfollow nowadays, which I would have enjoyed before. Like, oh, there's fucking street fights and people getting their head kicked in. I'm like, I can't do that because I'm watching it before I go to bed and I'm fucking stressed out. So I've unfollowed a lot of shit, and yeah, you do see things like I saw a video of the guy at a bull ring and the fucking the bull like jutted forward and hit him, and then it immediately cuts to his face in the in a theater somewhere, like an operating theater, with his face just completely fucking hollowed out. And I was like, there was absolutely no warning for that, and now I feel ill. So fuck all that shit. Sometimes you don't need to see that. Gareth Williams, when you sell out big arena gigs and add dates, do you ever worry you will add just one too many dates and the last show will have like 5 people in the audience? You usually get a bit of a vibe because if you put one on sale and it sells out really quickly and people are like, oh man, missed out on it, chances are you probably sell another one. And the more that you see selling out, the more people think it should be something they should be at. So obviously you're working with promo companies and they know the patterns and they've seen it a lot of times before. Because I've been in meetings where I've done a gig and they're like, right, that's sold out. Let's add 5 more. And you go, what? 5 more? And they go, yeah, we've seen this happen before. And you're like, well, okay, I'll believe you. But I've never done it. I've never done it where the last one was a push, that much of a push. I've always done it where I'm like, right, it would seem crazy to add another date on. You always leave it where it's like there's still people looking tickets, basically. Best and worst comedy music gig you've ever been to. I mean, I've done a few gigs myself where I was like, this is absolutely not set up for comedy, and it was a fucking nightmare. I've a handful of those. Did one for Magners. It was a fucking nightmare. Obviously, everyone in Northern Ireland has the story about gigging in Lurgan and just no one giving a flying fuck. I think I walked off stage mid-sentence in Lurgan and no one even cared. I was just like, right, that's me done. Bye. It was horrible. So yeah, I mean that's probably the worst comedy experience I've had. I've never really been to a gig where I was watching it and I was like, fuck, this is horrible. Other than when I was gigging at like open mics or something and you're like, Jesus Christ, quit. Would you ever quit? Best music gig I've been to, can't remember. Worst music gig I've ever been to, I went to see And So I Watch You From Afar, and we got there late and they'd already been on, and there was a band called the Fuck Buttons. And I'll see if I can look up the Fuck Buttons. It's not as cool as this.
Hello, pretty good.
Fuck Buttons. Let me just give you a sample of some of this. Fucking these belters here. And see if I get kicked off fucking YouTube for playing this. Now that has 500,000 hits on it, and it sounds like a cat fell asleep on a fucking keyboard. Terrible. Right, we gotta get out of here. There's one more question left. We're hitting all the fucking hot topics today on the General Banter Podcast. The final question is, of course, do you prefer poly pineapples or pear pickling porkleys? For fuck's sake. This is why we need to vet the questions. We can't end on that shit. Obviously, poly pineapples. Anyway, gotta get the fuck out of here. Cheers for listening, guys. Patreon.com/General Banter Podcast. We'll be back on Thursday with a bonus something. And that's it, man. Keep your eyes open for the General Banter Comedy Club at the Limelight going on sale for the 2nd of October, because the one on the 18th is sold out. Because that's how we roll up in this fat bitch. And that's it, man. See you next time, Mr. Geddís. Out.